to New York's #2 sports show. The Rangers defeat the Seattle Kraken by a score of 2-0. Jonathan Quick gets his second straight shutout, and he has a .970 save percentage. He's 4-0, and he hasn't allowed a goal since he came in relief of Igor Shesterkin against the Buffalo Sabres. So the thing is, he doesn't play often, but it doesn't seem to matter. And the great thing is Jonathan Quick at this point in his career, he knows his role. He accepts being the backup. He embraces it. And he has been just great for the Rangers. I mean, dating back to last season as well. So the Rangers start out the road trip, a western swing. It'll now head into Western Canada. They'll go to Vancouver, then Calgary, and then Edmonton. But the Seattle Kraken, they were on a 4-game winning streak. Probably a little bit of an advantage that the Kraken had just played yesterday against the New York Islanders in a game that they won late. And the Rangers faced Philip Grubauer, who's now their backup to Joey Daccord. And Grubauer was mostly good. Really, one mistake. The second goal by the Rangers was one that he would definitely like to have back, but still, a very low event game. This is definitely not. And there's only one penalty taken. I believe it was Ryan Lindgren took a penalty late in the first period. So not going to be one of those games I think really anyone is going to look back on and remember a whole lot, except for the fact, again, that Jonathan Quick does it again. So unfortunately, not surprising, Filip Chytil did not make the trip. So Johnny Brodzinski replaces him in the lineup. They did recall Jake Leschyshyn. So he is the healthy scratch 13th forward at the moment. And they did say that there was a chance that they didn't rule out the idea that Filip Chytil could join them on the trip. I doubt that. Even in a best case scenario, I'd be very surprised if that comes to fruition. So look, I think that at the end of the day, they need to be very, very careful with Chytil. I mean, this is something that has plagued him. And I really, really hope that somehow he's able to recover and this isn't something that, is kind of on again, off again. But unfortunately, that's kind of what happens in these situations, typically speaking. When you get 1, 2, 3, 4, it's very easy to sustain concussions after that. And they're not using the word concussion, but I mean, we can easily infer that that's, what he's dealing with here. So Brodzinski takes that spot on the third line. Although it was interesting, really, the top Laviolette rolled 4 lines in this game, but really the top 3 lines got the most of the opportunities. And the point is like, you look at the ice times, and some of that can be a little bit misleading. And really, when it comes down to like the length of shifts and how long you're in your zone and things like that. But either way, it was pretty clear that it wasn't as if like the Zibanejad line really played any more than the Brodzinski line. So evened up. I guess the one disappointing thing is on defense, where very clearly the top 4, Miller with Fox, Lindgren with Trouba, played a lot more than Jones and Schneider. And so that's unfortunate, especially because they were on for both goals. I mean, the goal scorers in this game were Alexis Lafrenière and Zach Jones. So Zach Jones got his first goal of the season. But let's actually just run through the game real quick. Really, again, super, super uneventful. Shots on goal in this game were 24-23 Seattle Kraken. And pretty even most 3 periods. I'd say that the Rangers in the second period were not so great. And Jonathan Quick had to make his best stops then. Because the fact of the matter is that this was a shutout where Quick wasn't really overly tested. Whereas the last shutout, I believe it was against Detroit, that was a different story. He, made a lot more saves and more high-quality saves as well. So, like I said, first period, there's only one penalty, and it was Ryan Lindgren at 17:25. He held Yanni Gourde, but the Rangers killed that off. And again, that was the only penalty of the entire game. And I'm trying to think, of any opportunities in the first. Brodzinski and Kakko came close to scoring. Brodzinski with a chance where he was in front and the puck just trickled just wide. And then Kakko had an opportunity with kind of an open net and, wasn't able to bury it. So a little bit frustrating there. But that line would eventually, score a goal. it was goal two. But second period is where I felt like Seattle definitely was a lot better, especially the first half of that second period. It was, it was the first period I think the Rangers were fine with, a good road first period, but Quick was up to the task. I mean, whether it was Jaden Schwartz, he made a good save on. Who were some of the others that he made a good save on? Oliver Bjorkstrand, I recall one for him. But yeah, look, Seattle, this is not a team with a ton of skill and talent. But again, they were on a 4-game winning streak. Like, they seem to be a team that's pretty well defensively structured. It doesn't allow too many opportunities and goal chances. But, when you don't have the skill, it does hurt you. And speaking of skill, it's Artemi Panarin coming to the forefront again, where he is able to find and open Alexis Lafrenière in front for the goal. Lafrenière, his 7th goal of the season from Panarin at 17:30 of the second period. So it's little things like that. And that's where Panarin is just so valuable. It's great vision for him to see Lafrenière and make the play is really, really big. So Panarin extends his point streak to 7 games. He has 9 points in those 7 games. So, it looks like another season, if health is there for him, that he's going to put up some pretty high point totals. So the Rangers have a 1-0 lead going to the third. And what was good for them is that pretty early in the third, they make it 2-0. And it's Zach Jones' first goal of the season, assisted by Kakko and Cooley. Not a good goal by Philip Grubauer. It's one that he definitely should have stopped. However, Zach Jones deserved it in many ways. He was the one that made this happen from the defensive zone. He's able to get it to the neutral zone, and then Will Cooley kind of shoots it towards one of the Kraken defensemen. It kind of deflects off him, and Kakko gets the loose puck and shovels it over to Zach Jones to his left. Jones comes in, takes the wrist shot, and scores. So it's kind of, they're doing the right things ends up paying off, even if the goal was not pretty at all. But again, I really think that Zach Jones deserves to play more than he has. And the good thing is, and I don't know if I ever really addressed it in any of the episodes, but the fact that, for at least for power play 2, Zach Jones replaced Keandre Miller in that role, which makes total sense. I mean, to not have Zach Jones in one of the power plays, what are you doing exactly? So, yeah, they made it 2-0. And I think it made it then a lot easier for the Rangers to protect that lead. I thought the Ranger third period was a very solid one. Kraken didn't get that many great looks on Jonathan Quick, and the Rangers win it 2-0. There were some empty net opportunities, notably for Artemi Panarin, who seems to be in those situations the most. But yeah, Quick makes all 24 saves on 24 Kraken shots, and due to Lafrenière and Zach Jones' goals, the Rangers win. So now the Rangers' record sits at 11-4-1, which is really good. It's the fact that, crazily enough, they're in third place in the division due to the fact that Carolina and Washington have been playing some really good hockey. Rangers on the road, a couple of stats. Rangers on the road, really good. 6-1 away from MSG, and they are 10-0 when scoring first, which is pretty crazy. So therefore on the flip side, they are 1-4-1 when they don't score first. So I guess in some ways you can say the Rangers, again, this is a general statement, but good at protecting leads and have not necessarily been the best at coming back. Again, there's definitely flaws in that statement, but just based on that statistic, you can kind of derive to that point. So yeah, Rangers get the win, and now they will head to Vancouver to take on the Canucks. And, for the Canucks, the overall record is good. And, definitely a lot of skill and talent on that team. So we'll see what they do. But again, in thinking about this trip, Western trips can be difficult, but in terms of these opponents, very beatable for the Rangers. Edmonton obviously stands out for, McDavid, Draisaitl. And so you want to stay out of the box against them for sure. But I could definitely see this being, off to a good start versus Seattle. And hopefully the Rangers can carry that into Vancouver. So again, Jonathan Quick gets his second straight shutout. He has a very long streak without allowing a goal. And we'll see when he comes in next. Could it be on this road trip? Possibly. I do think that it'll be Igor next game if I had to guess, but if they did go with Quick, it would certainly be deserved. So, yeah, he gets the job done. Rangers get the shutout. They go to Seattle. They beat the Kraken by a score of 2-0.